Alright guys, here's my Infinite Stratos episode 3 review. This episode is like, I wasn't really gonna bother reviewing this episode. Nothing really happened in it, and it was really like fast paced, and I don't know what's going on with this anime, really. Okay, this is what happened in the beginning. In the beginning, I guess, it's like a training session, and Shifyu is telling Onimura to basically fly his IS because she picked Cecilia and Onimura to basically show what's going to happen, and they're flying in the air. Ichika basically messes up because he doesn't really know how to pilot his IS properly, and since he got it, and yeah, that's how at the beginning, and they're flying around, and Onimura had a crash landing because he doesn't know how to use it. Nothing at all happened there. And then, okay, then we learn that he's a new class representative, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, sounds really it's really dumb. How does I know that Cecilia most likely likes likes Onimura, but like right off, like she's I like the little like she's angry with him and then she's like happy with him, angry with him, and likes him, angry. No, she's like automatically super nice to him. I'm like proposing to him, not really proposing marriage, like proposing to train him, and gives him pointers after class, and that's what happened. At yeah, Cecilia basically says that she drops her. She doesn't want to be the class representative, class 1, because Orimura should have this since he's a boy and he's the man, and to give him popularity since he's the only male IS driver, which I think is like bogus or some like retarded, because there's no way in hell that he's gonna be the only guy to touch an IS out of all these years of this IS thing that's out. Okay. So yeah, they have like this little handshake, and Cecilia is like bringing her hand closer to his, like feeling his hand and whatnot. And they're basically taking a picture. But when they take the picture, like you see every single girl that was like right there in that moment behind them, they're taking the picture. And Cecilia basically goes, "What? What's this about?" And yeah, and they keep going on and on about the picture, and then they learn that there's a new transfer student that's going to be class representative class 2, which is kind of odd since the student has right there. But later on, we figure out why the title's named My Second Childhood Friend. His second childhood friend, Riden, is from the Chinese representative, comes from China, childhood friend to Orimura. He's not as annoying as Cecilia was at the beginning, but he has a little childish behavior to her. Immediately, they were talking, and then Orimura is like, "Oh, why are you acting so tough? That doesn't really suit you." And then she's like, "Oh, what? What are you talking about?" And then she's like, "Orimura," and then they talk, and basically, Rin, for short, declares war on class 1. That's because of the inter-class tournament thing that's going to be held. That happens later on in this episode. Okay, yes. So, they talk because they're childhood friends and whatnot, and then Hoki and Cecilia get pretty mad about who is this girl, and basically get all worked up, not wanting her to basically not wanting Ririn to get close to Orimura because, well, they're like because they don't really know her. And then Orimura, then since he's like, "Oh, well, are you two dating?" It goes stutter out and gets like worked up for no reason. And then no, that's his childhood friend. And when Hoki transferred out, she transferred in, and basically elders were like, oh, and then funny part was reading. She's like, oh, I have no interest in you. So she was blabbering on and on how she came from England. She was first class representative, but dropped down for Orimura. And she's like, I don't have no interest for you. And then she's like, oh, hopefully we can befriend something to Hoki. And yep, that's about. And then they go back to this like another training session. They do some training. Yeah, do some training. Hoki and Cecilia are like, Cecilia's there too now, training with them, but they're basically fighting over, like, Cecilia's like, oh, I'm gonna be your opponent, and then Hoki's like, oh no, I'm gonna be your teacher, and it's kind of like like how this episode like plays out. It's like, I don't really like it at all. It's really crazy. I honestly thought this was gonna be like a good episode, but we just met a new character. It was an okay episode, but nah. And then we keep going, and then basically that's what happens. But then they go back, and they have like this little fight. We actually saw Hoki's IS, which basically looks like a devil or a demon, and she has like big huge katana, which you really like knew that was gonna happen. After that, they go into the room. They go back to Onimu's basically like washed out on the floor because he fought 2 people at once. He never did that before. So he's like like that. He can't even get up. And Cecilia leaves, and Hoki's like, oh, I'll meet you in the room. And then she's like, Hoki's like, I'm gonna use a shot first. And Onimu's like, okay. So we go back in Onimura's room, and the thing is, before this, when Onimura went back inside the thing to change or whatever, and Good Evening was there, and she was like, is it okay just because your childhood friends, is it okay to stay with them? Is it okay to stay with a guy because he's your childhood friend? And we go back into the room, right? And Riden is there too, and she has her stuff with her, and she's like, oh, Shinono-san, I'll be trading rooms with you. And then Hoki's like, what? And she's like, Riden's like, I know you probably don't like staying with a man. It's probably like personal, like too close and whatnot, whatever. Like too much, like I don't know about this, but basically uncomfortable. That's the word. Yeah, okay, uncomfortable. Yeah, that's it. All right. So yeah, uncomfortable. So basically uncomfortable, and Hoki's like, I never had a problem with this. What are you talking about? And then Hoki keeps talking, and then Riven ignores her, and she's like, oh, what do you remember that? Remember that promise? And Onimu's like, what promise? And she's like, remember the promise? He's like, what promise? And then she's like, you know the promise, and he's like, oh, that promise, the promise that you said that you'll make me sweet and sour pork for the rest of the time. And then because he used to go to their Chinese restaurant because her parents own a Chinese restaurant, so he used to go eat their Chinese food, and it's pretty funny. And then she's like, and then she slaps him like, plah. She slaps. And he's like, and then she's like, and he's like, what? What did I do? We have that type of look like, what did I do? Because Onimu's like very like innocent in a way because he doesn't do nothing. He's in the school of girls, but that still does nothing. Kind of weird type of character we have here. But yeah, it's really coming out into a harem. But it has a little mecha twist. Hopefully it's not gonna, the haremness won't drain out the mechanism of this anime. But I really, and I saw the sad little bit of fan service in this episode, but it drains out all the boring comedy that they have. And yeah, and basically that's what happens. And then Ririn was like, at the interclass tournaments, if you win, if the winner gets the loser has to do something, the winner, one thing the winner wants them to do. Like, that's it. And then Orimo is like, if I win, you have to tell me what you mean by the promise. But this is Orimo is like really dumb. If she told him that she's gonna make meals for him for the rest of his life, right? Listen, will that mean that she wants to marry him or get together with him? Hello, it's like, it's obvious, but no. Orimo is like so dumb that he doesn't realize this, and he doesn't realize that all these girls like him. This character, man, he needs to have some character development or something. But yeah, then we get to the tournament. You see her versus Ririn versus Ichika basically, and Ichika comes out with his like Bakyashiki, and Ririn's thing is Ririn is basically also has a melee she also has like a melee IS, you could say. Yeah. It's just a basic. I'm basically like hitting this thing with a limp guard, like hitting the table, whatever. So I'm really bored. Anyways, yeah. Oh look, wait, one more thing before I go. That's like basically my review on IS episode 3. Oh, look what I got. Just for Ace's death, I bought out and I bought this. Hold up. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold up. I went out and I got this. Just because Ace died, I make RIP Ace. I had to get this. That's something to remember him. I got this. One Piece Season 2, 4th Voyage. Yeah! Ace! Alright, see ya.